From Open Source Intelligence Michigan with Rick Killups. Locate people using social media pictures and apps such as Google Maps.
You should all be aware that one of the first things you look at on a photograph online is to see if there's XF data, if they have recorded data that is saved that shows latitude, longitude, type of camera, etc. Many of the social media platforms like Facebook strip that out, but it's always worth looking at. And the famous one, of course, is when Vice magazine found John McAfee for an interview and were real proud of getting their picture taken with him, and they posted it online. Of course, they had forgotten to remove the XF data, which showed his location, and he was a person of interest in a homicide and some other issues. This video, however, is not about XF data. This is simply looking at the picture for clues that can help you locate or possibly identify a subject. I'm sure that many of you are already using these techniques, but maybe this can serve as a reminder or give you some new ideas on how to do it. And for new investigators, maybe this is something that can help you when trying to find people through social media. In the first example I'll show you, the website is Imgur. Imgur, I guess. I'm not sure. I had never heard of it before. But there was a person with a username on it that the client wanted identified. And I had found matching usernames or close usernames to that was being used here by a couple different persons in different parts of the country. So I was trying to find something to pinpoint his location. And finally, I came across this picture. He was talking about he had just purchased a new vehicle. I noticed on the license plate, it looks like it's a temporary tag of some type, maybe with some information as to the name of the dealership. So I zoomed in on that, and I was able to actually make out the phone numbers, which gave me a town, county, town, state, and that ultimately led to his identification. In the next case, the subject had made a concerted effort to hide their tracks. Their last address that showed up on anything in any database was over 3 years old, and they had moved several times since then. I found a subject that gave me, it told me they believed they were living somewhere in a rural county, but they didn't know where. I was able to find a Facebook account for the subject, and the female of the couple put a lot of pictures online, and I looked at those closely to see if there was something that might help lead to their location. I found this photograph that showed the subject standing in a driveway, and I noticed that behind him there was a building with a red stripe on it. So that gave me my first clue. If I could find that building, I might be able to locate the address. And the second photograph that helped was this one here. It's looking the other way, I assumed, from the same driveway. And what I noticed here, where I'm circled, is what appears to me to be an auto lot, like a car dealership. And it might be difficult to see on the video, but when I had the actual photograph in front of me, I also noticed what looked like a garage, a brown garage with a white door, huge garage, which I thought maybe was maybe their body shop or something along those lines. The county name I was given, as I indicated, was very rural, and it only had one city in it that would, as far as I knew, support an auto dealership of any size. And in that city, that dealership, in my experience, would have been in this area, somewhere in here on this road. So what I wanted to do was use Google Maps and their street view, as they show here, and go down the street to see if I could find that red striped building, first of all. And then and there it is. I found what I have thought would be that building, and I continued down the road then to where I found what I believe to be the dealership that I saw in the bottom photo. And The arrow here will show you the building that I thought had that garage that I had pointed out in the bottom right photo. Now I'm turning back and looking the other way, and I'm believing that the house must be in this area here on this road, based on the way that the pictures show. And I will show you from an aerial view the angles that I used to kind of narrow down the search area for the house based on the photos. So I figured it was one of these, basically two houses here. And to further check the location, if you notice from the aerial view, that bottom arrow seems to point to like a fence, a kind of a square fence that's the front of the fence there alongside the road. And if you look at the upper right picture, I'm pointing, my bottom arrow there is pointing to what looks like a fence. And then also there's a house, kind of kitty corner to it, and looks like there's a connection between the garage and the house, and that also shows on the aerial view and on the other view. And finally, if you look at the picture, it looks like on the bottom picture, the car is pulled up alongside the house, which would indicate to me that the garage is set back. And if you look at the aerial picture of the two homes, only one has a setback garage, and I'm pointing to have it. The bottom arrow points to that. So with that information, I made the assumption, and then later checked it on the street, of this house here being the subject's house, and indeed it was their house. So a combination of a tip on a possible county they might be living in, the use of Google Maps and Google Street View, the aerial view with satellite and the street view, and then Facebook photographs helped me to locate this individual. Now, even if I hadn't been given a tip, let's say I would have found a possible decal or sticker like I did on the previous example I had shown you that gave me an area, I might have been able to solve it even without a tip from an informant. So it's not always going to work out. You know, it's always a long shot, but it's always worth checking. If you're having a problem locating a person, look at the photographs and then try to blow up information if you can't see it using Photoshop or whatever you have available to you. And in a future video, I'll talk about some of the different options you have for enhancing photographs. But here's a tip in Facebook. I'm not sure why it works this way. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But when you go to somebody's timeline, and like here's my timeline, and click on the picture, so you've got a fairly good sized view there, and then you want to save that picture to your hard drive. And the reason why is because by saving it to your hard drive, sometimes when you then reopen it in a photo viewer, the view you get, and right here's the example, will be larger than what you can see on Facebook. So if you just try to do an image save with some type of image saver, screensaver, you'll just get the small size. Here's another example. I'm going to save it, right click. You have to get to, you can't be on the general timeline. You have to click on the picture so you get to the larger picture. Save it to your hard drive, and then reopen it in a photo viewer, and it could possibly be larger than the original picture. And in fact, in this case, again, it was. One thing I do know is that if you take a picture on your phone and you save it directly to Facebook, and then as opposed to saving it to your computer and then uploading it to Facebook, the picture that you save directly from your phone will have a smaller file size and thus be a smaller image than if you saved it first to your hard drive and then uploaded it. So the mobile app must somehow shrink the file size when you send it. In Instagram, you can try to see if you can get a larger file size, and likely will if you follow this tip. What you want to do is go to somebody's account, click on the picture you want to make larger, and then you use this coding on the right there that you see that says media / size equal 1. You copy that and you go up to the menu bar and you replace it where it starts with ? taken by. You take that, you place it with the media line of code, and as you can see then, you will get a larger picture. Here's the before adding the code, and here's the after. Before and after. So you can see that it is larger. Make it easier to make out what you're trying to find. There are 2 prior videos that may be of some assistance to you with enhancement and finding larger photographs and locations. To do that, you have to go to the bottom of my videos page and go to older posts. You'll see image enhancement. That's one video that shows you some ways that to bring out things that you normally won't see, and then reverse image search also, which can do 2 things. It can help you find a location based on some building or something, possibly if it's in the computer somewhere else, in the internet somewhere else. And secondly, it'll show if you have a picture and you want to see if there's another version of it somewhere else on the internet, you use the reverse image search techniques and you may find a more detailed, larger version than what's available at the particular site that you're at. So you can look at both of those videos for that information. I would suggest you do if you haven't done it and you're going to use this technique. Now, I know I've kind of rushed through this and you may have missed some information. One of the things is the Instagram coding that you need to enlarge the picture. Go and on this video, click the read more button. And anytime I have a video, if there's some specific information I'm going to include, you can always check by hitting the read more button. I'm also displaying my email address there. Feel free to email me with any questions you have at all. And or you can give me a call. I'll be more than happy to try to help you out.